Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Once again, this is Mads Vlog, and today we're going to talk about domestic violence. It is a global issue that we Before we proceed and continue with our topic, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing and click the notification bell so you will get notified or get updated whenever I have new videos. And I appreciate all your comments or suggestions, your thoughts, your opinions about this topic. And thank you so much for supporting my channel. So let's talk about domestic violence and what are the forms of domestic violence, how they are being committed. Domestic violence is also referred as domestic abuse or family violence. Family violence because this abuse is usually happened inside the house, in a family or in a relationship. So what is domestic violence? Domestic violence is a violence or other abuse in a domestic setting such as in marriage or in cohabitation. What is cohabitation? It is the relationship live-in partners. You are not married but you are staying together. You have this relationship and just like you are building a family. Domestic violence is often used as a synonym for intimate partner violence, which is committed by one of the people in an intimate relationship against the other person and can take place in heterosexual or same-sex relationship or between former spouses or partners. In its broadest sense, domestic violence is also involved violence against children, teenagers, parents, or elderly. It takes multiple forms. So we have this different kind of domestic violence. So here are the forms of domestic violence. It's consists of physical, verbal, emotional, economical, religious, reproductive, and sexual abuse. Physical abuse. Physical abuse is any intentional act causing injury or trauma to another person or animal by way of bodily contact. In most cases, children are the victims of physical abuse, but adults can also be a victim just in cases of domestic violence or workplace aggression. So I'll be showing you some clips of this physical abuse.
When I'm done,
Those are just sample of physical abuse, and most of this physical abuse victims are women, but in some cases they have also these men who are being abused by their partners. So take note, it's only women, but they have also men, but in few cases. I know you find it so disturbing, these video clips, but it's the reality, and I want to emphasize that these women, they don't have the courage to speak, and they just keep in themselves what they are going through and what they are suffering. I know most Filipino women are being physically abused by their partners, especially in low class society, in poor places, something like that. and they have these partners who used to drink alcohol. They are being beaten by their husband or by their living partner. For me, myself, personally, I experienced those. I am not ashamed. I was once a victim of this physical abuse. And sometimes these men, they are drinking, and because of the high spirit of this alcohol in their body, they pretend to be blank and they pretend they don't know what they are doing. But actually, they know what they are doing, and they are just very brave enough to do this violence. Just like the alcohol, the spirit of alcohol is their excuse of this violence for this physical abuse. The second form of domestic violence is verbal abuse. Verbal abuse is a type of psychological or mental abuse that involves the use of oral language, gesture language, and written language directed to a victim. Verbal abuse can include the act of harassing, labeling, insulting, scolding, rebuking, excessive yelling towards an individual. It can also include the use of derogatory terms, the delivery of statements intended to frighten, humiliate, denigrate, or belittle a person. Sa Tagalog, yung pangungutya or yung insulting, yung they are throwing words on you just like you have committed something from the past, and they just keep on repeating those things even decades already. If you have arguments, they bringing up all these things that will really humiliate you, and just like you don't have the face to go out already. I am telling all these things because I myself personally experienced those verbal abuse. I'm not ashamed, but I'm taking and I'm sharing this to give encouragement to all those victims to voice out and do the right thing for them. Video clip will be coming to show the example of verbal abuse.
Keep your greetings to yourself if I shoot it down with a slap. Look at the time you're coming back home. Have you forgotten you're a married woman? Listen! Looks like you've forgotten your real job. Let me remind you. You're here to cook my food, clean my shoe, wash my dresses, and even knot my tie, though I don't have one.
All right, take care of yourself.
Hey, come back here. You think I didn't get both of you? Do you think you can run away from your responsibilities by bringing this prostitute to cook my food? Why can't you think about the repercussions? Why? Anyway, all of you are the same. Prostitutes.
The third form of domestic violence is psychological abuse, or often called as emotional abuse. This is a form of abuse characterized by a person subjecting or exposing another person to behavior that may result in psychological trauma, including anxiety, chronic depression, or post-traumatic stress disorder. It is often associated with situations of power imbalance in abusive relationships, and many include bullying, gaslighting, and abuse in workplace. This also may be perpetrated by person conducting torture, other violence, acute or prolonged human rights abuse, particularly without legal redress such as detention, without trial, false accusation, false conviction, and extreme defamation such as were perpetrated by state of media. I consider psychological abuse as very broad because they have this a lot of factors that causes psychological abuse, just like if you are not happy with your partner, that will cause you a psychological abuse. Because if you are not happy, just like once you are not happy, they have these too much things coming in your mind, and just like you are being loaded and you cannot focus on anything. Kung ano-ano yung mga pumapasok sa isip mo, naguguluhan ka, yun yung mga psychological. Marami siyang aspeto o yung reasons why you have this psychological abuse. And according to research, marital or relationship dissatisfaction can be a cause of psychological abuse also. Arguments and conflict between couples can cause and lead also to psychological abuse. The fourth form of domestic violence is economic abuse. Economic abuse is a form of abuse when one intimate partner has control over the other partner's access to economic resources, which diminishes the victim's capacity to support themselves and forces them to depend on the perpetrator financially. Some married, if the man is working, he sometimes don't give his salary to the wife, which is supposed to be the wife who will handle the budgeting and the earnings of the family. But in some cases, some women don't know how to budget properly, so the man tends to do the budgeting for the family so they can balance the expenses and how can they make the salary to cope for the whole month. But some men really don't give money to their wife, which is a form of economic abuse. And sometimes once they get separated, they neglect their right, their obligation as a father and as a husband, which is women's and children. They have this right. Even they are separated, they have the right to have this support from the ex-husband or the father. So if the husband or the father is not supporting to their kids, this is a form of economic abuse, and they have this perspective penalty or parusa for this one. They have a case, you can file a case for these guys who don't know how to support their kids, even though you are separated already, even you are married or not, legitimate or illegitimate child, as long as it's their blood, they have the right to support. And you women, you children, have the right to claim for your right. Watch this clip for economic
Lazy
abuse.
woman. I hope you're going to pay her from your pocket. You don't have a dime to give you to pay somebody who is going to come and do your responsibility.
Babe, I'll pay her.
One more thing. I went to the bank and there was problems with the network. So I need 40,000 CFA from you. I'll give you back.
The only money I have here is Milanese school fees. That's all. And it's all of my pay. Ben, I know you. You won't give me this money when I need it. You won't.
See, I said I'll give you back. What's your problem? Didn't I say I'll give you back?
Ben, give my back.
Listen, be careful. Don't just come closer.
Stop, please.
The fifth form of domestic violence is religious abuse. Religious abuse, administered under the guise of religion, including harassment or humiliation, or may also include misuse of religion for selfish, secular, or ideological. Just like if you are married and your partner is humiliating you about your religion and just like disrespecting your culture in your religion, that is a form of religious abuse. Just like the other is not respecting you, your belief or whatsoever. Once you are married, even though you are not with the same religion, once you get married, you love each other, you must learn how to respect individual differences, because that is where you will build a genuine relationship. If you know how to accept individual differences, and sometimes religion is included, because the other one belief is different and the other one is just like opposite. Just like even you are both Christian, Catholic Christian and born again Christian, they have these different kinds of belief and tradition or rituals. So just respect each other. Religion shouldn't be the cause of fight or argument inside the family. Put God in the center of the relationship, then everything will fall on its place. The sixth form of domestic violence is reproductive abuse. This is a collection of behavior that interfere with decisions making related to reproductive health. These behaviors are meant to maintain power and control related to reproductive health by a current, former, or hopeful, intimate, or romantic partner, but they can also be perpetrated by parents-in-law. Ultimately, these behaviors infringe on individuals' reproductive rights and reduce their reproductive autonomy. Just like if your partner don't let you use contraceptive in order to have this family planning, that is considered as reproductive abuse. And sometimes we as women, we know how difficult, how dangerous to have a pregnancy. Some women are prone of difficulties in pregnancy. And also another factor is if you have some health problems, you should consider this in having this reproductive or family planning. So once your partner don't allow you to make decisions about this matter, or your in-laws will put themselves on that matter, this is reproductive abuse. The last but not the least form of domestic violence is sexual abuse. Sexual abuse, also referred as molestation, is abusive sexual behavior by one person upon another. It is often perpetrated using force or by taking advantage of another. When force is immediate, of short duration, or frequent, it is called sexual assault. Take note, married woman or man, you can file a rape case against your partner. You heard it right. Even you are married, you can still file a rape on them, because just like if they force you to have a sex even though you are not in the mood, or even though you are having some pain and they still force you to have this sex, that is a form of sexual abuse. Anything that is against your will is, or against your right, is called an abuse. I'll be sharing a short clip as an example of sexual abuse.
Please, sir, please, sir. Sir, please. Please, sir. Please, sir, please, sir. Sir, I'm begging you in God's name, please, sir.
Shut up. Open your foot.
Sir, if you don't leave me, I will shout.
You want shout?
I will
You
shout,
want
sir.
shout?
I will shout.
I will show you something. Since you're not cooking, you're not cooking.
I hope you learned something from this video. Remember, kung may karapatan ka, ipaglaban mo. Huwag kang manahimik. And thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. This is Mads Vlog. See you again next time.